talking about the issues that affect you most. It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. Now from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, here's Martha Zoller on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
Are you outraged with the war in Gaza? So am I. My name is Rawan Osman. I'm half Syrian, half Lebanese. Since October 7th, I visited Israel 9 times, and I want to testify before God and you, Israel is not the problem. Last week, Israel buried Shiri Bibas with her children Ariel and Kfir. Hamas said they had been arrested. Forensic reports show they were choked to death in Gaza. But many who point fingers at Israel might do better to look in the mirror. I asked Qatar, why didn't you arrest the Hamas chiefs in Doha and demand release of the hostages? Why did you finance terror? And I asked Iran, why do you send billions to Hamas and Hezbollah instead of liberating your own people who are suffering oppression and poverty? Egypt, you charged Gazans thousands of dollars to escape the war. How can you lecture about the morality of displacing Gazans? Jordan, why have you refused to accept any Gazans? Are they not your own people? Lebanon, instead of discussing Hezbollah's political role, ban the party. Syria, if the new president is sincere about his transformation, I ask him to return the body of Eli Cohen. It's been 6 decades. Allow his wife to bury him before she dies. Hamas abuses dead bodies. Be a better Arab. Be a better Muslim. Thank you.
So that's a Syrian Muslim woman, half Syrian, half Lebanese. She got to speak before the UN. And she called out every one of these Arab countries and the work they haven't done. And then later in the afternoon, I know it wasn't connected, but later in the afternoon, we found out that the Arab League has rejected the Trump offer to come in and rebuild Gaza, which he never wanted to do. Okay? He never wanted to do it. He threw it out there as a crazy idea. And now they've committed $53 billion to rebuild Gaza. And you know what? I'm going to put this in the crystal ball time capsule because I'll probably be dead before this comes to fruition. And Logan will still be here board-upping whoever takes my place. But I am going to say that, especially with Saudi Arabia involved, that they're going to do for Gaza what Hamas should have done for Gaza 15 years ago, which is turn it into a place that people want to go. And, you know, there's going to have to be some things we don't like seeing because in order to break the Gazans, and I don't mean this in anything other than with a whole lot of love, but these folks have been raised to believe that it's more important to kill Israelis. On our street in New York City yesterday, there was a guy that was showing videos from the Hamas attacks. And a woman comes up, 2 women come up that are pro-Palestinian protesters. And it turned out, after I did a little digging, that they are Palestinian immigrants to the United States. And these are nicely dressed women, all of that sort of thing, nicely dressed women. And they look at the video because it's in one of those boxes. So if you've ever been to the Holocaust Museum, the really bad videos are kind of in a box, but they have a wall around it. So if you don't want to see it, you don't see it. The only way you're going to see this video is if you actually look at it. That's what this box had. These 2 women go and they start laughing and they start saying, good, as long as you're killing Israelis, then it's okay to do whatever you want to do. And they're saying, good for Hamas to kill the Jews and the Israelis. And the man says, don't you care that they're murdering innocent people? She says, not as long as they're Israelis. Now, that's on the street here in New York with someone who's got a visa that's coming from Palestine or from Gaza. And I know that you can't judge an entire people by a couple of bad apples. Okay, but as these hostages have come out one by one by one by one, they're telling stories of, yes, some being in the tunnels. It seems to me what they did is they kept the kind of military age men more in the tunnels. Some of the women they did. But it seems to me, I don't have a spreadsheet on it, but just from my following of this, that it seems they kept more of the military-age men in the tunnels and that a lot of the other people were kept in civilian homes. Did one Palestinian try to help an Israeli hostage escape? There's no evidence of that. And I'm sorry, Israel and the people of Gaza are not on the same plane. Israel is a democratically elected government that has courts and that justifies and will bring actions against people if it's necessary. Hamas killed all of their political opponents, suspended elections, and have enlisted and poisoned the people of Gaza into believing that Israel is their enemy. Israel's a dot in the entire Arab League. Okay, it's nothing. And they are jealous because Israel has been able to create a good economy out of nothing. They gave them the worst land with the least amount of water, and they're booming. They've got a great economy. And if you need nothing else, and I know UNRWA has been criticized and we're not giving any more money to UNRWA. But in the UNRWA curriculum, and I saw a video of this, they have children about 7 years old. Some dress up in IDF uniforms and some dress up in Hamas uniforms. I use that with quotes around it. And they play act a Hamas soldier, again, quote marks, murdering an IDF soldier. They have 2 7-year-olds play acting that. Yeah, and I know what you're going to say. Oh, kids play, cowboys and Indians. Kids play war, all that. That's not what this is. This is teachers sanctioning a child learning that they should kill any Israeli. I will never get out of my head the video of the Hamas fighter. They're not freedom fighters. The Hamas fighter using the phone of a dead Israeli to call their mother and tell them they've murdered with their own hands 10 Israelis. And the mother going, thank Allah that my son is murdering Jews. I will never get that out of my head because it's so twisted and wrong. And that anybody that defends that, anybody that doesn't understand that the entire population of Gaza has been corrupted and we sat by and did nothing and we funded it in large part. And I don't just mean we. I don't mean the United States necessarily, although we put a lot of money into it. But I'm talking about the Western world because we got guilted into it instead of standing up for what was right, which was Israel being a sovereign nation and a two-state solution. But you know what? The two-state solution died with Shiri and Ariel and Kfir Bibas because the murdering of 3 innocent people in that way. And look, I know you people that support Hamas, you're going to come up with a million examples. But there's a difference between collateral damage from an airstrike that was warned ahead of time. No one in the history of the world is warned what they're going to do ahead of time more than Israel has. And children that were taken out of their bed at home into captivity, into a hostage situation, and then were murdered willingly. There's a difference. And if you don't see the difference, then you need to look in the mirror. We'll be back.